How many of us sitting around this table have had a conversation like that? Have you had a conversation like that?
Yes, this morning.
Wow.
I said to a friend of mine that she shouldn't go ahead with the relationship, basically, and I said, and she's definitely, you know, kind of, she knows that she shouldn't, but she's thinking of going back to him, and I just went, he's a liar, there is nothing in this for you. I know she will go out with
Did she
him.
ask your opinion, though?
No.
I think it's the crux of it. I think if somebody asked me my opinion, I probably would be a bit more vocal. But I think if we're all being honest, very, very difficult when somebody's besotted and think they're in love to actually say, listen, no good for you. No. And how many times in the past, when people break up, whether it's just a relationship, whether it's a marriage, and you say things, you say, well, you're right, of course, because he did this and did that, only for them to get back together again.
And then tell them.
Yeah, and tell them. And then you realise you've said all of that.
I think if I saw what I thought were signs of abuse or violence or very controlling behaviour, I would probably say something. But if it's just that I don't like them, I'm not the one going out with them. So, you know, and as you say, when they're in that besotted phase, you don't want to be the one that comes along and goes, let me pour a big jug of cold water over everything that you're feeling.
I knew about somebody having an affair once, and I was much younger, and I had to decide what to do, but I went to him. He was having the affair, and I said, I know what you're doing, and if you go ahead, I will tell her. And I never did, and they are now, many, many years later, they are now divorced. I have since said it, you know, and it was okay because she was divorced, and she went...
But was she cross with you for not telling her?
She wasn't, but that's because she was just enjoying the hatred of him at this point.
It's not to be underestimated.
It's a festival of hate.
The other thing I think is quite worrying is the fact, say, if you have grown-up children, that they start bringing in boyfriends, girlfriends and so on. And, of course, as a parent, you have an opinion. But I think there's a danger you could drive them away a little bit if you start complaining about them too much or being too vocal. I think in that scenario, you have to let it play out sometimes.
Well, it's funny, you know, when I met my sister Dina's husband, I'd been hearing about how gorgeous he was, how wonderful he was. Everyone had been agreeing, and then I finally met him. I was excited to meet him. Shook his hand, the hair on the back of my neck stood up. That's how I thought, oh, my God, he's just so wrong for her.
Oh, no.
And I had to... It's so funny, when you look at all the run-up to the wedding, every photo of me and her is me going... even on the wedding day, in the morning when she's getting ready, I'm like this saying, you can get out of it. You can stop now. I'll make all the phone calls, the 100 people, I'll cancel the flights.
Is this based just on the hairs on the back of your neck?
Well, yeah.
She's very hairy.
There's a lot of hair. But, you know, I was just so convinced that he was the wrong person for her. And he charmed her, completely charmed her. And then... suffice to say, all hell broke loose very early on in the marriage, and it was a very tough time for the whole family, 5 years, and the marriage did end, and I was right, and I was so glad that I'd said it, though it did cause problems between us, but I just wished I'd been I wish I'd tied her up.
You see, I know other families that have been in that same situation, they build up to a wedding and all that sort of stuff, and everyone's going, yay! Oh, my God, this is not going to work at all. Right up to the evening before, going, shall we tell her? Shall we tell her? Shall we tell her? And in the end, they didn't, and let it play out exactly like you say, Gloria. And in the end, it didn't work, and you know, and the marriage ended, and everybody's now happily with someone else. They just weren't right for each other. But you risk losing a friend. If it's a parent, as Gloria said, you risk losing a daughter or a son.
But I suppose we have to ask ourselves if it's somebody that you really love and you really trust. Like my sister and I were so close, Dina, so close that I felt that I could say that because she would know that all I wanted was for her to be happy. That there's no question that I would say anything other than I really felt it.
Do you know what I would recommend? There's a fantastic book written by the woman who started Refuge, and it's called The Charm Syndrome.
I know it. It's brilliant.
I have actually sent that anonymously to a friend of mine through the post because I didn't want to be the one to say, this man you've met, I think, is showing all the symptoms of a controlling...
Is that what the book is about?
It's not anonymous anymore. I need to say, somebody who got that.
She doesn't live in this country. She won't be watching.
It's interesting because it talks about how they're all the same, how they all have the same pattern controlling men, just different names. But they're all the same.
And controlling women as well, not just men.
But then, on the other hand, do we as individuals have the right to actually say to somebody, he or she's not suitable for you?
Yeah.
We can't really judge.
Really feel it.
And admit, and I'm, you know, one of them. You think, but I can change him. It will all be different once he's with me, and he wouldn't do that to me.
I would never tell you.
Why?
Because I know that's what you'd think.
Oh! We need to talk.
Because you're current.
Okay, all right.
Did your hairs go up when you with the current?
No, he's very nice.
It's all very nice. Oh, I'm so glad she's so